Good morning, nation. John here. Hopefully, I'm 5 by 5. I'm getting the hang of it, son. I'm getting the hang of this whole live streaming deal. How y'all doing this morning? Can you let me know if I'm 5 by 5, please? I beg you. And then I need to ask y'all something I saw in the chat. I need to ask about it here. Thank you very much, John Smith. So, a few of you were talking about something going on with the sun in the chat. That's the first I've heard of that this morning. What's the deal? What's going on, folks? With the sun, that's not good. I'm going to research it right after this live stream, but some people were saying something's going on with the sun that could affect communication. Solar flares, Sue says solar flares. Thank you very much. I am going to research that right after this live stream. So how y'all doing? Thank you, mods. I saw Nan in here. Big Red. Thank y'all for modding. Jonathan Hicks says huge solar storms may be coming. Yeah, that's not good at all. We need that, right? On top of everything else. Good morning, Forrest. And I saw Paul Jones in here. Good morning, Matt. Thank you for being here, brother. Shorty is in the house. So, Just a Gun Nut says solar eruptions can cause earthquakes, cause all kinds of stuff, nasty stuff. I think it can affect GPS and things. We don't need that on top of everything else, do we? So, is Donald Trump going to be doing 4 more years in the White House? They are saying there's a 99% chance that he is going to announce his bid for re-election in 2024. He has scheduled a rally in Iowa, I think. I always get Iowa mixed up with another state. I think it's Iowa in October. And I don't know if there's going to be an escalator there or what, but they're saying that he's going to announce his bid. And then DeSantis last night blew up his own presidential hopes. A lot of people were saying DeSantis was going to try and run for president. He actually shot that down last night. And he said that it was nonsense. He'd heard the rumors. It was nonsense. In my opinion, and this is just opinion, folks, I think in the Republican circles in politics, Trump has already told a few people, hey, I'm going to be running. I think DeSantis realized he's not going to beat Trump in a primary, so he's just going to sit back and wait his turn. I actually have 2 questions for you, nation. Number 1, if President Trump, I still call him President Trump, runs in 2024, will he get a fair shake? I want to see what y'all say in the chat here, because I'm not too confident that he would after 2020. Diggity says no. Nana says nope. Werewolf's just laughing. I guess that's a no. Debbie says no. Nope. There's a bunch of nopes. I agree. Who said that? Servant Warrior said fair shakes are over. I don't have a lot of confidence and faith in the system right now. Apparently you guys don't either. So that's number 1. And then the second question I had was, would it matter at this point? There's so much damage that has been done in the last year and a half. You know, Trump is not, even if he were to get a fair shake somehow, which again is a stretch, he's not the savior of the United States. He was a good president. He would definitely be an upgrade, but he would have 4 years. He would be very limited in what he could actually get accomplished in that 4 years. And to be honest, derangement syndrome is real. I've seen it firsthand personally. I've seen it a lot online, actually. I think that there are a lot of Democrats and even some people in the middle, some independents, that would rather tank the country than see Trump in the White House for 4 more years. So I don't know that he would pull the votes if it was fair. On the Republican side, I know he would get enough votes. But Nana P says Trump is losing followers by pushing the whiskey shot. I agree. I've seen a lot of people just throw him to the side because of that. And I know people have different opinions on that, but I wasn't a huge fan of it, to be honest. And he did, Bobo, that's a good point. Trump pushed it as well as lockdowns. Um, again, I think he's an upgrade from Joe Biden, but his hands aren't perfectly clean. You know what I mean? Um, Jamie says, I would vote DeSantis over Trump. Some people would, but I think the thing with DeSantis, I don't know how many independents he would pull over. Whoever runs for the GOP, again, this is if they get a fair shake, which ain't likely, is they're going to have to pull the independents over. And I don't know if DeSantis would do it. And to be honest, I don't know if Trump can do it because some people just got that derangement going on. Tanya says no one can fix it. That may be true also. That's a good point. The damage may have already been done. Trump, when he won in 2020, it was basically just a stopgap. We knew at some point they were going to go ahead with the agenda. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about. Forrest says we can't depend on Trump to save us. Only Christ is the savior. I agree. No politician I think is going to save us. But I would love to see an upgrade from Biden. You know what I mean? Sorry for getting all up in y'all's grill here. So a little prepping. I got this question over on Patreon yesterday. I was originally going to talk about water today. I'm going to push that over till tomorrow. And I want to talk about this question. They were asking about electrolytes. They said, can you have too many? How do you prep them, etc.? So you can actually have, it's like anything else except for maybe boomsticks and freedom seeds. Other than that, too much of anything else is bad, including electrolytes. So the two main things I think with electrolytes, and I'm not a doctor, folks, but the sodium and the potassium, they mess with your kidneys, I believe, after a while. So you don't want too much, but you do want to have some on hand just in case. You don't want to get caught without, some kind of electrolytes. They make the powder, they make the tablets. We were just talking about the liquid IV yesterday, but there are a lot of options, Pedialyte and things like that, the hydration salts. Some people, Gatorade is the only thing in their budget, and that's fine. Gatorade is kind of hard to find right now in this area. But if you're going to go with Gatorade, I would actually recommend the powdered Gatorade because of the shelf life, and it takes up a lot less shelf space. And the last thing I would add is I would have two options. You don't want to just have Gatorade. You want to have two options. With prepping, somebody said, Michigan Lifestyle said cranberry juice. You want to have two options. It's like anything else with prepping. One is none and two is one. So if you can afford it, get two different options. If you get the powdered stuff, just remember, you're going to need water for it. Some people are going to struggle with water during SHTF, and we're going to cover that tomorrow because it's actually been a few weeks ago, but I got an incredible email from a wife who is prepping and her husband's not on board, and it's just a mess. And I had planned on covering it right before I got sick, and then I couldn't do it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Big German prepared. Gatorade, he said Gatorade is owned by Woke Coke. It is, but there are other options out there that are very similar. Store brands and stuff too. Aaron Goodman, no, I'm not getting off. These are going to run for about 30 minutes each day. So I'm just switching over, to a different topic. I wrote a bunch down, questions you folks had asked yesterday, and that I missed when I was watching the live chat, and I'm going to cover them today. Hatch BM says, sorry, I'm too white for Coke. I understand. There's store brands, and I think there's what Powerade, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Same philosophy behind them. So there you go. Um, we do have. I'm going to go ahead and level with y'all. We do have some powdered Gatorade canisters here. We have several, but I bought those at the beginning of the pandemic when people were buying toilet paper before Coke did all this nonsense. Night of the Living Prepper, thank you. President Camacho says put Gatorade on the crops because they have electrolytes. Oh my God. Man, I heard probably the funniest name for Biden yesterday, and I'd never thought about it. Somebody commented on the video after after we were live, and they called him the thief in chief. So hopefully that doesn't get me flagged or whatever. But anyway, I had a comment yesterday. Somebody said that they hated the fact, and I understand and I respect this comment. I wanted to bring it up. They said they hated the fact that prepping channels were turning into prepping / opinion channels. And again, I get that, and it's absolutely true. But for those individuals, I would say there are strictly bushcrafting channels, hand over fist on YouTube. Great ones. I watched several of them myself. Homesteading, same thing. There are those channels where, if you just want to see a goat held down and its nipples shaved or whatever goes on the homestead. I don't really have a homestead. Those channels are out there. Again, I watched several of them, maybe not involving the goat in such a way. But the thing is, I try to, with the videos and things and the live streams, I try to go in the direction of the comments I get here, the emails and things, and what people are talking about on Patreon. A lot of people are talking about, for example, right now, I got to be careful here, the blue helmet camps, people want to know about them. People are talking about the whiskey shot. People are talking about passports. People want to know about these things. And they want to hear about them outside of CNN and Fox. And so that's why a lot of prepping channels, you are right. The person that left that comment is right, but prepping channels try to listen to people that are there, if that makes sense. Political decisions, they matter. So if we have, what we say, a squatter in chief or a thief in chief, if you have one and they're making horrible decisions, that affects us, the average Americans, and that affects prepping. You have to prep accordingly. The dude keeps printing money. That's going to cause inflation. That's going to cause money to lose value. And so you have to prep for that. You have to understand prices are going to go up because of it and things like this, okay? Joseph says, where did shaving goat nipples come from, John? I have no idea. It's I don't have tons of farm animals out in the back. I respect the folks that do that, that homestead. Me personally, I would rather have a bunch of fruit trees. It seems like they would be lower maintenance. I mean, they're not going to grow, pork chops or steaks or anything. But we do have a couple of friends that are into, the butchering and all this stuff. Thing is, you got to buy, the animal whole. You can't just go and buy 2 pounds at one time. So Nana says, get some chickens, John. We have explored that, Nana. My wife, Miss Nation, she wants chickens and she wants a pig. But I was on board with the pig until she wanted it inside. And I'm like, no, son. Rudy, Alaska Prepper. Wow, thank you for being here. Rudy, I think you tried to call when I was deathly sick, and I did not see the call until a long time afterwards. So I do apologize. I talked to Rudy on the phone, guys, and I was feeling fine that day. And that night is when I got really sick. And so, yeah, brother, I appreciate you checking on me, man. That is awesome. So, yeah, that was the last normal conversation I had on the phone before I got really sick. So I missed this question yesterday, okay? And it's a good question and I wanted to cover it. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of them in the chat this morning, but I promise I will go back and write them down. Somebody yesterday asked about my thoughts on refugees coming from Afghanistan here. Um, so that's a tough question. It's a good question. As a Christian man, I don't want to see anybody suffer. You know, I don't care about the nationality or anything like that. Most of the refugees that are trying to get out of Afghanistan or have gotten out are probably good people. They're probably trying to get away from the oppression. I can't say that I would blame them. If I was in that situation, I would try to get away as well. What I have a problem with is not the refugees so much as the people letting them in. And I know this is two totally different things, but I think the concept is the same. Okay. So if you have a house and you have property and you have a family that you're trying to protect and take care of, and random people show up on your property, you need to ask some questions, right? You need to find out who these people are. You need to find out what they want. You need to vet these people before you potentially help them or whatever the case may be. We're not properly vetting the people that are coming in. And again, most of them are probably, incredible people. But some of them are not. Some of them want to harm America, and we need to be vetting these people. Plus, I'm not a huge fan of flying these people all over the country in the middle of the night like you're doing it behind a curtain, because that tells me the people in charge know that they're not doing, they're doing something wrong, that Americans would be pissed about it. So they're trying to do it behind the curtain. And yesterday, after we went live, I got an email from a lady, and she said that it was she had gotten an email from the airlines asking her to donate her frequent flyer miles to the refugees. And she was saying it was ridiculous. So there you go. Somebody just brought up the Statue of Liberty, and I agree, but it was a different time. We didn't have tons of terrorism at the time they put the Statue of Liberty up. You'll hear liberals all the time trying to take the Second Amendment, and they'll say, that was a different time, you had muskets and all this stuff. Well, that also applies to refugees and people trying to get into the country. It was a different time. So I'm sure I've missed tons of stuff here. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to pay attention to the chat here for a second. Aaron says, how about they donate to get the Americans home first before the refugees? Absolutely agree. Cannot believe we have people stranded over there. And I've read reports, I don't know if they're accurate. I did read them, I think, on Fox, where the Biden administration is actually suppressing these folks from getting home. I don't know why. Again, I don't know if that's completely accurate, but if so, it's nonsense. Odin's Wolf says most of the so-called refugees are fighting age males. And again, I've heard that as well. We just need to vet these people. We need to know a little bit about them before we let them loose into our country, because these could be sleeper cells or anything. Skid Kid says, Prepper Nation, I heard you were going to be the new conservative voice on The View. No, I have standards. I would never, ever go on that show. That show is ridiculous. I've seen it twice. Both times I think I was at the dentist and they had it playing on the TV. So anyway, somebody left a comment yesterday. It kind of blew my mind when I saw it after the fact. They said I had someone actually say Joe Biden is doing a great job. I don't know where to go with that one. I don't know exactly how Joe Biden is doing a great job. I would love some explanation on that. Anybody? Does anybody know if they're... Look, I'm not even going to judge you. If you voted for Biden, you're a Biden fan, and you happen to be in here, please let me know how he's doing a great job right now. Point to some numbers, on the economy or something. Give us something. Okay. Rudy, again, I appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you very much. Hatch says, if Joe is doing a great job, how would they describe a bad job? I have no idea. The only thing I can think of, again, is the derangement syndrome, where somebody hates Trump so bad that they just have the blinders on. You know what I mean? And I mean, I really don't know. That one kind of caught me off guard. Um, got an email yesterday from a lady. This is kind of weird. So I know how cookies work online and the tracking and stuff, but this, I want to share this with you folks because it's real and it's ridiculous. She was watching live as I was talking about liquid IV. She pulls up a second window to check on an Amazon order or something. I don't have the email right in front of me. And she said when she went to Amazon, it was suggesting liquid IV. She had not searched for it. It was not in her cookies or her search history. I was just talking about it in a separate window. So my only reply was, folks, I mean, we know it's 1984 and how ridiculous it is, but if we are using social media and they're not trying to sell us a product, the best way to look at it is we are the product. And yeah, Big Red said, oh, yeah, they're listening. I didn't realize it was that bad, like listening to everything. There's no way I would have like one of those, what they call them, the Alexas, and I think there's a Google one also. Arknan, thank you. Arknan says, where is Heels Up? We need a Heels Up tracker, like the Santa tracker at Christmas. Um, we never know where she's at. The last I heard, somebody yesterday said she was stumping for Gavin Newsom, trying to avoid him getting thrown out of office in California. So last I heard, that's where she's at. Who knows? Prep Texas says, Prepper Nation, have you ever read Going Home? I have not, that I'm aware of. Jason says 1984 meets Idiocracy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Domestic Gangsta. Man, I love me some DeSantis. I don't want to share him, but he'd make a great president. Yeah, he actually said he shot those rumors down last night, Sophia. And I think the reason is, he's younger. I think he knows his time's coming, and he just doesn't want to go head to head with Trump in the primaries. So, truckers, I wrote this down, I underlined it, have a lot of power here in the United States. There are a couple of countries now where they have tried to push the whiskey shot on their truck drivers, and their truck drivers have resisted it and said, no, we'll just stop working. And in both cases, the government has had to backpedal and say, okay, we were just joking, son. And I wanted to bring this up because at some point they're going to try and mandate it on the truck drivers here in the United States. At some point, watch and see. And hopefully our truck drivers come together and say, no, that's a deal breaker for me. Leah, haven't seen Leah in a while. How you doing, man? But yeah, if there are any truck drivers here, I know there are a few here at the Nation. Hopefully you folks realize how much power you actually have, because truck drivers, if they came together, they could actually shut the country down. More so, I think, than just about any other industry. They could paralyze the United States, and make the United States take the knee, if you will. Scotty says 2,500 soldiers at Fort Carson have said no. That is good. That is good. American Trucker says, I'll park my truck before I get the whiskey shot. Hopefully, there are enough truck drivers that agree with you, brother, because again, you folks hold the power. You know, Congress and Senate and all this stuff, whatever. But truck drivers are the ones that make it happen out on the interstates. And if they came together, dangerous for the government. Yesterday, got a comment from a lady on here and I missed it. She said that her husband is a shipping coordinator and he has told her major price increases are coming because the prices of shipping containers continue to go up. Um, I think we talked about this earlier this week. There's not actually a shortage on the shipping containers, they're just sitting at docks everywhere and they can't reuse them. Um, so, you know, when companies have to ship stuff and pay more, they're going to pass the buck on to the consumer. So be prepared for that. Paul Jones, my grandson is getting booted out of the army. He won't take the whiskey shot. I hate to hear that. Um, Hopefully, it's an honorable discharge, but I hear so much ridiculous stuff. You know what I mean? Like, somebody was making the comparison online, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Paul, about George Washington. I know I'm saying his last name wrong or whatever, but how he inoculated the troops. The difference is there was no big pharma. You know, there was nothing shady going on. People trusted the government back in the day. And I think the government and again pharma, I think they have proven to be untrustworthy. And that's why so many people don't want to do it, I think. Again, just my opinion. Paul says, John, he is saying it is a dishonorable. That's sad. It really is that people will go and they, you know, serve our country and then get a dishonorable discharge over this nonsense. Um, Mr. Iron Hex, what if we are wrong? What if it's the best thing to do to get the whiskey shot? I mean, that's something that for me personally, medical stuff should be an individual decision. You don't want to base it off of anything you see on YouTube. You don't want to base it off of anything you see on Fox or CNN. Something you need to pray about and you need to research and make that decision on your own. Um, you know, I don't have the answer. I don't know what this stuff's going to look like in 10 years. Um, I'm not huge on jumping right in a few months after, you know, they rolled out with it. Thank you for being here, Renee. And finally, yesterday, another one I missed, somebody was talking about shortages are now affecting schools, like the school lunches and school breakfasts and stuff like that. True American Loretta, how are you doing, ma'am? Thank you. Um, our kids are basically getting the equivalent right now of prison food when you break it down. When you look at the meals that they're getting in schools and then you compare them to the meals that they're getting in prisons, there's not too much of a difference, right? Um, and shortages are doing this. James McGee, you definitely going to die. Well, I would rather have natural antibodies, but I understand that that's not an option for some people. You know, some people are very high risk, and so again, teach their own. You know, it should be a personal deal. But I don't agree with people being, you know, segregated or persecuted for one decision or the other. Shorty says, my kids won't eat school lunch unless it's pizza. We used to have decent pizza in school, but I don't know what it would be like nowadays. I think they're using the wheat bread and all this nonsense. All right, do you folks have anything in the chat? I'm watching it like a hawk right now. Let's see. Prep Texas. I've had the 19 twice. It was little more than a head cold, and normal meds knocked it right out. Yeah, I've heard that from several people. It affects everybody differently, which is why, again, I don't think there's um, a one fix for everybody. It's different. People's health, man, it's different. Some people are older, they have underlying conditions, and that's something they need to factor in. It definitely you need to have a doctor you trust, and you need to have that conversation with your doctor, would be my advice. But don't be browbeat into it. Don't be get to the point where you have all of your freedoms taken away and you're painted into a corner and you feel like you have no choice. Because to me, that's ridiculous. That's not freedom. Nicole says, my son says Michelle Obama ruined school food. That is not far from the truth. That is not far from the truth. Jennifer Cruz, yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refill my coffee as soon as I cut this off, and I go back through and I look at all the comments. So if I missed yours, I apologize. I'll write them down for tomorrow, okay? All right, folks. I'm gonna do that now. Actually, I'm gonna refill my coffee cup. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you very much for making this part of your morning. And I gotta watch the replay now. And I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. God bless.